Triple Shot Mindset.
So we thought this morning that we should tackle the subject of giving and taking advice. And the reason I came up with that so brilliantly, I might add, is because we sit here all week and we give advice because we're so full of it.
Full of good advice.
That's what I
Good
meant.
advice. Yes.
Good advice. So why not bring it to the table and have an open discussion about that?
Love it.
Thank you.
That's fabulous.
Ardy?
That's fantastic. I couldn't have said anything better or more valiant
Absolutely.
Oh,
than
valiant.
my brother. Yeah.
So shall we start with your question, number one?
Let's do it. Go ahead.
So your question is, who should you give advice to?
Wow. That's another brilliant question.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, you give advice to somebody that needs it. Now, do they know they need it? So to play it safe, if somebody asks me, hey, Kevin, what stocks should I invest my money in? Then I'll open my mouth. I won't just give information because I don't know when it's appropriate to do so.
Interesting. You, Amanda?
I've given this some thought. And for me, I try not to give unsolicited advice. But I have this meter. And the more I love someone, the more I take ownership of them in that you are part of my circle. And as part of my circle, there's a standard of self-love, a standard of self-respect, a standard of quality of life. So if the people that I love are slipping and their self-love's going down, their self-respect is going down, their dignity is going down, their health is going down, I will in those circumstances take it upon myself to deliver unsolicited advice. And if they don't like it, then I will take their dislike and I'll say, okay, I tried, at least I said my piece. But I've been the person who has crashed and burned while everyone kept their mouth shut. That wasn't good for me. And I've had people speak up and save my life and help me become a better person as a result of it. So I've adopted that take, which is like, if I love, I speak up, and I understand it may not be well received, but I'm going to say something because I love you.
Well, let me put an asterisk on what I said.
Okay.
I have a rule that my advice only goes to my immediate family, my brother, my mom, my dad, my daughter, because of their blood. And I feel like that's a good rule. If they're immediate blood, it's all good. You can give advice. Because, for example, if I were to give my brother advice, he is so knowledgeable that he would not ask for advice, right? He's very knowledgeable. So I would not want to, but a part of me wants to say something. And eventually I'll say something. But I will not give advice to like a friend of mine, non-blood, you see? Mm-hmm. So crypt. So you give advice to the blood, you don't give advice to the crypt unless they ask for it.
What about the 18th Street gang? Would you give that advice to them?
We're getting rid of them. We're getting rid of them.
Okay, good.
What about you, Ardy? Who should you give advice to?
I think everyone that crosses my path. I think from a spiritual perspective, I look at things and I think I was put in someone's path for a reason. And whether or not they know they need advice or they ask for it, I'm going to tell them what I think. The fact that Kevin, for example, says he wants to give advice to the immediate family, I think he may be afraid of getting his feathers ruffled if he talks to the wrong person. I, on the other hand, I don't care what the outcome is. If I can say my piece, and again, I come from a very spiritual perspective in that I think I was put on someone's path for a reason, whether or not we have shared DNA or a shared household or we're friends or not. I think if I see, for example, someone at the grocery store, they're struggling with something, or like, let's say, whatever, it's my job to step in and say, hey, are you okay? Don't worry about that guy. He doesn't know any better. You're doing a good job. Like that would be just a human thing to do. So the heart of mine would say, yes, approach everyone, even if they don't want to hear it. Maybe it'll make a difference in their life one day. Maybe that advice trickles down into their memory or heart or whatever it may be, and they'll use it one day to become a better person.
I love that. I especially love that you're detached from the outcome. Mm-hmm. Like you said, maybe today they'll wipe with it, but in 5 years it's going to bubble up to the surface, and that'll be exactly the reason they course correct. That's beautiful. You're planting seeds.
So you're in the middle. Yeah.
Beautiful. The second question is, who should you take advice from?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I think I'll take advice from people who are doing better than me. That would be my rule. If my dad, for example, wants to give me marriage advice, I love him, but there's a place in the shelf that he belongs, and it's not on top of the relationship shelf. So if I have to take advice from someone who wants to give me, let's say, relationship advice, it has to be from a person who's done better than me, who has more emotional intelligence, who has a track record to prove it. I don't want to take advice from people who come from fear, from lack, from negativity, from, oh, you can't do that because you're just too small. I don't want to take advice from those people. I tell them, thank you. I appreciate you wanting to help me out, but I'm seeking help from someone who can pull me up.
Love that.
Wow.
It's very
Wow.
nice.
Quite deep.
Yep.
So for me, there's two things I do. I take advice and I listen to advice. I listen to everybody.
Yep.
Because I like perspective. You take it from people who've been there, done that. They've got some experience in that department. And necessarily don't take whatever they say. I'm saying, yes, sir, you got it. I'm going to go do it right now. Again, everything's perspective, but I give a lot more weight to the person who's done it versus the person that hasn't done it but still shares a perspective. I respect that.
Beautiful.
And you?
For me, I'm looking at their quality of life. Do I admire their quality of life? I don't necessarily like to listen to everyone's advice. You, my dear friend Kevin, you're much more tolerant than I. I find that everyone has a mouth and everyone flaps it incessantly. I'm often very amazed by how much people talk just because they can. It really muddies the waters. So I don't listen to everybody. I zone in and hone in to the nervous systems that I admire and want to emulate.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It still baffles me that people go to, let's say, a coach or a therapist or whatever, and hear them give them advice. But if you look at their own life, it's chaotic, right? None of the stuff that comes out of their mouth is backed up by real life examples, right? So to me, that would be one of the biggest red flags. If I have to pay someone to go talk about my problems, and here they are going against everything that they tell me to do or tell me to be, and they're against that or the opposite of that, and their life is chaotic, how can I ever take advice from that? How can I ever know that that advice works? I think it's inauthentic. For me, credibility is very important. So if they turn out to be a chaotic person and they don't have a good relationship and they have, tendencies that are whatever, then I'm not going to take their word as closely to heart anymore. It doesn't have the same power anymore. I'd rather be around people like service providers who apply the same things to their own lives versus those that just do it for a job and then go home and are miserable.
Got it. That's fair. All right, moving on to question number 3.
It's a wonderful question, actually.
It's your question.
Oh.
Why do people refuse advice or get defensive?
You go first.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. Why do people refuse advice or get defensive? The first thing that comes to my mind is that it hit too close to home.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I think either it hits too close to home or they're not ready.
Yeah. And is there anything else to say to that? I'm trying to think of the times that I've refused advice in my life, and there are plenty to choose from. And every time I think of it, it's because I knew that was true. I was pissed off that someone else was seeing it. And then usually in a 72-hour turnaround, I give myself credit for this. I go, damn it, they're right, and then make the appropriate change. But I do know that I just didn't like being seen in an area that I was already insecure. Like, don't look at my wound, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think our ego tells us that we're always right, and we don't want to admit that we're not. So when somebody brings it up, it bruises your ego first. So you're like, fuck you. What the fuck, man? I don't need to hear this bullshit from you.
Yeah.
But like you said, then if you're smart enough, you'll marinate.
Yeah, and then go fuck.
And then after a few days, you're like, you know what? Maybe they're right.
Yep. Especially if, for me, it's usually been areas where I already knew there was an issue, damn well. And then when someone pointed out, yes, my ego was bruised, but then I was like, well, wait, I wasn't wrong then. because the reason that I hadn't acted on the issue is because I was afraid maybe I was wrong. So in a way, if you're open to advice, it can actually be very validating, because you can realize, I already knew there was something off and you see it too. Oh, that actually means I was correct. Now it's time to make a healthy change.
Thank you. That was great. I like to go back to the revolutions in the world that have happened, the dictatorships that have controlled people. And one of the first things they do, they hang or imprison the thought leaders. They throw out books, they burn books, because they don't want people to be thinking outside that box. And I think when people refuse advice or they quickly get defensive, is because it will shake that weak foundation that have worked so hard to build. I know people that go to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins says this. He says, once you get back and you start doing your meditations and you start working on yourself and you start looking better and speaking better and the people closest to you will say, why are you doing this? Who is this Tony stupid Robbins? You're in a cult now. They put him down, because the version of you that can ascend and become better is now creating fear in the ones who are not willing to grow. I think people are afraid of change. People are afraid of looking at themselves. People are afraid of fixing things. They think just sticking something together with Band-Aid is going to fix everything. And it just takes a very strong, confident person to look at that and say, thank you for that advice. Anyone who gives me advice, anyone who criticizes me, I like that. I like criticism, because I can look at myself without defending myself, see if there's a valid point to it. And if there is, I would like to change it. So criticism, advice, bring it on. If you see me on the streets, say your hair looks awful, so I can go do something about it.
That's what we said this morning. That's why I cut your hair for you.
And I did. I have no problem doing it. But you have to be strong enough. You have to be aware enough. You have to be wanting to improve for that advice to actually go in and trigger something.
Triple Shot Mindset.